Hi, I'm Rich, and welcome to another episode of the Wild World of Classics. We're at the Drag Racing Expo in Schaumburg, Illinois. That Renaissance Center, that new convention center, they're doing car things here in Chicago. Beautiful. 1951 Henry J. This is just a gorgeous car. But the reason I stopped here, I love the colors that they used for this race car. Also, look at the workmanship that they put into this car. Everything is fringed in. I believe this is a fiberglass front end. It looks like the original car. They fiberglassed in the grille, the lights. They added a couple of spoilers to make it look a little more modern and aerodynamic. What a gorgeous car. Boys and their toys, they never cease to amaze. I've said that a number of times on the show, but this booth is really interesting. You ever have that car that keeps rolling when you're trying to work on it? They devised something that even looks cool to put underneath the wheel, and they're easy to push in and push out. They got a little handy tray where you can stack things into. You have a hard time in that trailer snapping things down, you could screw this to the wall and actually hook things to it. I love this, it'll hold your helmet. I never wear a helmet, so I don't think I'd need that. This is just unbelievable. I love these things where you can stack your tools, stack your cans. This is unreal. You ever look for that spray can of WD-40 or spray paint or whatever the case, penetrating oil? That's a big thing we're always looking for. Well, now you can mount this to the wall and have it. This is an idea from the bar industry. They have racks for bottles, you know, you drinkers out there. Well, now they have it for the garage where you can stack and rack all the stuff that you need easy access to. You could put it inside that trailer when you go out to the drag strip and have everything on hand that you need. Unbelievable. This motor is 706 cubic inches. This motor, when it has all the bells and whistles on it, I mean everything, from the camshaft to the nitrous to these dual pumpers up here, you can max out at around 16 to 1800 horsepower. I don't know how to keep the wheels on the ground. Torco Racing Fluids. They've been around since 1948. They've done a lot of things with gas additives that make that car go a little faster, that high performance stuff. What I like about it is they manufactured oils back in 1948, and they've kind of stayed with what the cars need. A lot of these new synthetic oils aren't proven yet, and I don't know, I'm still waiting to hear the results. The best tip we can give you is use a quality oil and change that oil at least every 3,000 miles, and you'll get the best life out of your car. Ron's fuel injection systems. I remember when people were trying to put these on cars and they had nothing but trouble. The humidity in the air would change the consistency of the gas going through the fuel injection system. This company has mastered where you have every part imaginable. The nice part about what I like about this is they have technical help. If I can give you any kind of advice at all when it comes to working on your car, be it you grease monkey that works out of the garage on the weekends or the high performance racer, deal with quality companies that back their merchandise and help you when you have a problem. Car trophies have always looked the same since the beginning of car shows. Classic Trophy out of Indiana come up with a new idea, molding some pewter and looks like brass or gold into the trophies. I think it looks gorgeous. Boy, they never cease to amaze when you come to a car show. Evolution Motorsports out of Plainfield, Illinois does some of the coolest custom work I've seen in a long time. I've been watching this company for a number of years do some of the most interesting custom work I've seen in a long time come down the fields. You know, everybody does the old-fashioned standard flames on a motorcycle tank or on an automobile. It's cool, but I think personally they've overdone it. It's been done forever. I like people with a little creativity. They go into something like this. Since 9/11, the Patriot thing is really big. So they took a helmet, they did the red, white, and blue, some lightning bolts in here, some stripes, some stars. Really a cool looking idea. And then we got the old classic, I mean, it's been around forever, the rat fink. How can we not love the way that looks? Local coating. Loco. Must be crazy. No, it's a great product. They take headers and they actually ceramic coat them so that they stay shiny and they look good for a long time. This is really cool because anybody that has headers on their car knows that they change colors and they don't look really good if you're driving that car. But they also do powder coating, which is really a great thing to do on your vehicle. Valve covers, oil pan blocks. You can powder coat literally anything. And powder coating is really interesting. One of these days we're going to do a show around how it's applied, what you have to do to put it on and that. But once you put it on, virtually it's on for a long time. In fact, sometimes you can't even get it off. They actually spray it on and then they heat the metal to a certain degree. It's very hot. And it actually impregnates the powder coating into the object that you're having done. And they turn out beautiful. This is like a God's gift to the auto industry because you can actually make covers look like brand new for a long time. This industry never ceases to amaze. I don't know if you know this or not, but the Wild World of Classics is filmed by Magic Television Productions and Magic Photos here. How could we not stop at this booth? This is so cool. You could take a little photo, a 4x6 photo, a 3x5, and have it blown up like this, made into a poster. So when you get that car coming off the line, I don't know if I'd want it off the line. I think I'd rather have that photo finish coming across that finish line. You could have it blown up and hang it up in the garage or that den or that rec room where you could remember that photo finish. I don't know how many of you know this, but that great Sunday, and I can't do it the way that man did it, that was Jan Gabriel, and he was talking about Great Lakes Dragaway in Union Grove, Wisconsin. And they're still around, having fun. So you got to get out there on a Sunday to Union Grove, Wisconsin, Great Lakes Dragaway, and watch those hot cars going down the track.
When I'm in Chicago, I watch the Wild World of Classics with Rich.
In every show, we're going to do a segment called Rich's Tips. Tips that'll save you time, money, and aggravation. Today, we have a really great tip for you. I had an issue with my Ford F-250 pickup truck. It's got a lot of miles on it. In fact, it's over like 170,000 miles on it. Well, my manifold started leaking, my exhaust manifold on the vehicle. But the issue I had was these bolts were rotted out. So they were impossible to take off. I called all around. I went to a few repair shops and I got prices of anywhere from $700 to $2,500. Actually, some guy wanted to actually take the motor apart, remove the head, have it sent to a machine shop to take the bolts out and everything. I ran into a person, an associate in the field, and they told me about a place called James Dean. It's on Joliet Road. In fact, it's the old Route 66, but it's James Dean Automotive. They do custom exhaust work, brakes and shocks and stuff like that. Well, this guy's an old timer. I mean, this is the old-fashioned way of fixing cars. I called him up and he goes, listen, Rich, no problem. I do them all the time. What he ends up doing is removing the wheel well and the wheel and everything and getting it out of the way. What he does, I've never seen him before in the industry. He'll actually take a nut, push it on, screw it on, get it in place onto the little stubby stud you got sticking out, and he'll MIG weld it on. MIG welders are great because they don't have a lot of heat in them, but when you MIG weld something, it really lasts. Then he takes and heats up that whole area again that the stub is going into, and he removes the bolts. He removed all three of my bolts with no problem for around a couple of $100, which he saved me, you know, over $1,000 if you're going to go with the guy that wanted to remove the head. I don't know if you're like me, but I don't get lucky when a repair like this happens. Got lucky, found a guy that could do it, saved me a lot of money, but you know what happened? We got it apart. My exhaust manifold was actually teeter-tottering, so it wasn't sitting level, flat onto the head. Plus, we had a crack in the exhaust manifold. So we ended up having to replace it. But this guy, I'll tell you, he does all kinds of custom work when it comes to exhaust and all of that. He uses quality parts. Really a nice guy. And if you want to see a ton of James Dean memorabilia, he's got the whole office and the whole place done up. It's on Joliet Road in Countryside. It's called James Dean Automotive. Really, really nice people. And they saved me a ton of money, and I thought you should know about it. Sunday morning in the drag racing industry. We're in Schaumburg, Illinois at that new convention center, the Renaissance Center. And we have a swap meet going on with high performance parts. These guys pray for a swap meet like this. You can actually find that part that you're looking for. You've heard the term Hemi forever, I believe. You know, since we were kids, you heard Hemi. And Hemi has gotten bigger now than it's ever been in the industry. Do you ever wonder what a 426 Hemi really looked like? Well, this one isn't a 426. That's what they used to be. This is a 605 Hemi. But the tattletale signs with the Hemi is they have the spark plugs inside the valve covers. That's how you know it's a Hemi. There is no other engine that did this kind of work. Now we go into the newer 426 Hemis they're putting in the trucks. This is really top of the line now. And instead of having the spark plugs in there, they have fuel injectors. Real slick, real fast. This is hot, what they're doing now with the automobile. GM high performance parts. That's right, folks. GM is making high performance parts for the automobile. We all remember the Chevy dealers in the 60s when I was growing up as a kid, where you can go in and buy a high performance part from a Chevy dealer. Ladoff Chevrolet in Arlington Heights, give me a call. They're working with me. They're getting me some parts for the vet. We're working on doing some custom work on that Buick. They're going to get me some mirrors off of that. I want to talk about this new Cobalt they got out now. That might even be something like the Yanko Camaros that you're seeing go for $500,000. They got the coolest things. You could pull that car apart and turn it into something that just looks awesome. They have cool valve covers. That's what we're all about. We just love doing that. 1968 Pontiac GTO. What an interesting automobile this was. Company out of Addison, Illinois is reproducing the complete body. The only thing about this one is it's strictly designed for the racing industry, but it's a complete fiberglass body of that great looking retro 1968 Pontiac GTO. I don't know if you remember this or not, but DeLorean was the head of Pontiac division, the motor division, and then he became president of the Pontiac division. Well, he was the one that came up with the idea of using that line from Laugh-In, "Here Comes the Judge." And that's when he named these GTOs the Judge. Burkhardt Chassis Company out of Decatur, Illinois, specializes in making high-performance chassis parts for your Camaros. This is unbelievable. Take a look at the beauty of these rear ends. Everything is completely hand manufactured, polished on both ends, powder coated in the center. This is unbelievable. And you could just drop yours out and bolt this in. You might have to modify a few things with some of their parts, but they give you everything you need to be able to put this application in your vehicle. Hoosier Racing Tires. They've been around for a long time. In fact, they're a well-known brand on the racetrack. But what I love about it is they got some colors, some really cool things. They got people buying tires. Look, he's got a catalog, 2007 catalog. But what's even better yet, they got hats. They have teddy bears. They got a guy doing the paperwork. Making any money over here? Look at this. It's really cool. A company that really goes out and has like the cool things. When I was growing up, when I was a little kid, I remember going with my dad to places. My dad was into cars. They always gave away little cars or hats or something like that. I love that this company remembers where they came from, and is still doing the stuff that made them famous. '05 Mustang, but Mustang's been around since I think 63 or 4. But I love that this car has survived. Not only survived, but they've turned it into one of the hottest cars in '07. It's just unbelievable. This car in '07 from the factory, and it's reasonably priced, is getting around 500 horsepower. This is a great race car. A lot of guys love the car. One of the reasons they survived so long is because it's a small car and it's light from the factory. So you can end up really making it go fast because you're not moving a lot of weight. Engine blocks, amazing what they're doing with engine blocks today. This is the old-fashioned cast iron. They're very heavy and it's primitive to say the least. This is the latest technology in automobile engine blocks. It's forged aluminum. This is one big chunk, and then they take and they cut it out. With this block here, it's very forgiving. The stress of a high-performance engine doesn't affect it at all. It really gives you unlimited horsepower. You can take this, and by putting different components on, you could really push the pedal to the metal with this thing and get the ultimate in horsepower and speed. '05 Dodge Dakota. I love what the racing industry is doing with these automobiles nowadays. I mean, they always look cool, but I don't know, in the olden days they were like a little tacky. The fiberglass wasn't straight. They didn't care about the sex appeal of the car. They were more interested in the racing end of it. Well, now they're really interested in the racing end of it, but they're all making their cars look beautiful. They look like factory cars, just gorgeous. This thing is really, really attractive. It's almost a shame to take it on the drag strip and get it beat up. Route 66 Dragway. I think they're in Joliet, Illinois. They've been around for 10 years. I remember when they were talking about building this track, they said it would never make it. 10th year anniversary, and they're doing great. From March till October, they have something cool going on in the racing industry just about every weekend. Give them a call, take a ride out there. It's a ball. I love what they're doing in the racing industry, but these Novas are the hottest vehicles out in Chevrolet's line. One reason being they were so light from the factory, you didn't have a lot of weight to move. So a lot of guys went crazy with building these into race cars. This one is just gorgeous. I love to see black being used for the race car industry. It's just really a cool color because you cannot hide any sins. It's got to look perfect. But I'll give you a little tidbit of information. Did you know in the 60s, Novas were being built in Mexico, but the Spanish people would not buy a Nova? Reason being, in Spanish, Nova means no go. In every one of our shows this year, we're going to be doing a segment called Test Drive and Review. In fact, we're getting vehicles from the manufacturers to test drive and give our opinion on what we think of them. Well, the vehicle that I drove recently was a Lincoln MKX. It's a crossover SUV vehicle, and I'm going to tell you something. I've been hearing that America doesn't get it when it comes to building fine automobiles. Well, this is an elegant automobile. I really, really enjoyed the ride, the comfort, the speed. It has excellent acceleration, gets anywhere from 15 to 22 plus miles per gallon. But I just got to tell you something. It just felt right. The inside was elegant, comfortable, sexy, and classy all in one. One thing I really love about Ford, they have these sunroofs that open, the whole roof opens. I just love that. In fact, Ford was an innovator with that. Back in the 1950s, they had glass sunroofs in automobiles. They were putting them in then. Now they're doing them in this crossover SUV, this Lincoln MKX. but you can also get it in the crossover Edge, which is another great automobile by Ford. But we did the auto show this year, and they even put them in the Mustang. They have the whole complete roof in glass in a Mustang. I got to tell you something. I drove a number of cars this year already. We get them for about a week to drive so we can give our opinions on them. This one here, I really didn't want to give back. And I've driven foreign cars and domestic cars. So keep watching the show, because every show we do, we're going to have test drive and review. If you're out looking for a car, I don't want you to go out and buy that same old car you've been buying every time you go out and buy a car. Not that I don't want you to be loyal to that car industry, but I want you to go out and look at cars in your price range. That's the best tip I can give you, because maybe you too can find something that fits right, you feel good in, it's classy, and it's comfortable. And if you buy a vehicle like that, you're going to enjoy it. Did you ever hear the term midget racers? Well, this is what a midget racer is. You know what? I never got the concept until I'm seeing it now. You have to be a small person to drive one of these, because I'd never make it in and out of one of these. I just love what they're doing with these automobiles. This is a 1995 Firebird, and look what they've done with this thing. I mean, it is just gorgeous. The racing industry, I really have to give it a lot of credit. They've come up with some great color schemes. I mean, it's exciting to watch them go down the strip doing what they're doing, but it's also nice to be able to notice them and know which car you're rooting for. And with a paint job like this, he's definitely standing out, and you'll know where your guy's at. This is really interesting. Years ago, guys would end up welding another big pan on top of their pan. They would cut it out in the inside. I'm getting dirty. I'm letting you know a tidbit of information, but they would make this pan bigger, and that would be to put more oil in the pan, anywhere from 2 to 4 more quarts. Oil is not only a lubricant, but it also cools down the motor. So guys would end up doing this to their car to make them run faster. They're running cooler, they're running faster. Let me give you a little tip of information of what's going on nowadays. We had that filter mag company send us the magnets that you fit around the filter, but you can also take and put a magnet on the bottom of your oil pan, and that'll help get any metal components that are in your engine to stick to the bottom of the pan instead of going around in your motor. This is really cool. Engine by Auto out of Sugar Grove, Illinois, builds some of the hottest racing motorcycles around. If you watch the show, you know I'm a biker. I've been riding for about 20 years. Love riding my bike. I'll never get into one of these. I don't know, but the faster you go on one of these, the bigger chance you have of something happening. And I just can't imagine putting that road rash on my body. But he's got the thing that'll keep you on the road, provided you know how to handle one of these. If you get one of these bikes nowadays that go like 200 miles an hour, the best tip we can give you in the show is learn how to ride the bike first before you go taking it up to ungodly speeds. Flowmaster Muffler Company. They're out of California, but they're at the drag racing show, but they make mufflers for every application possible. I remember when I was a kid, man, there was a thing called cherry bomb mufflers where you put these things on, and basically they didn't have a lot of devices like this inside the muffler, and the muffler was very, very loud. I'm not into that, but they can make anything you want. Basically, they have it in stock, from a very noisy 50s type of sound to factory specs. This is a cutout of what a muffler looks like. This is great. I just love this. In fact, we're doing that show on saving miles per gallon, and we're going to be doing an exhaust system on my truck. Wait until you see that one. It's all swollen. So I'm getting real poor gas mileage. You know what? They've come up with another thing that I love, and that's these kind of air filters. Change your air filter. If there's one tip we can give you in today's show in the racing industry, the more air you put in that engine, the faster the car will go, the less gas you'll burn. It'll be more efficient. So you can get some better horsepower out of that vehicle just by changing the air filter. This is just really amazing. Finally, you guys with the 55 through 57 Chevrolets can go to this company and get a new core support. You can get a new radiator that really works, that doesn't overheat when you're out cruising, when it's nice out. And on this side, they even have the dual fans in it. They found that by putting fans in these cars, you'll never overheat. Especially you guys with that real sharp one, that convertible, and you're driving it in a parade when it's 90 some odd degrees out there, and you're just rolling along. You're not even cruising, you're not even coasting. You're rolling at about 2 miles an hour, and the car always overheated. I know, because I used to drive cars in parades like that. This is a great concept. Everything comes in aluminum, polished, ready to go for your show car. This is great. The buck stops here. Boy, I'll tell you what, when you have a race car, the buck never stops. I mean, you could put an endless amount of money into it. Look at this. Gorgeous color combination. I love the work that they did on this one right here. 1970 Mercury Montego. In fact, Montego and Cyclone were the same body style, but they were dropping 429s in this, and these cars were winning races back in the 70s. Ford Motor Company has always put a lot of money into the racing industry. In fact, Henry Ford was big into making his cars the fastest cars on the street. In fact, he's the only one, back, I can't remember exactly what year it was, that won a Le Mans race with his cars. Unbelievable. It was never heard of before. These things were really, really fast back in those days. I'm glad to see that Ford is still doing something with the Mustang and getting a vehicle out of the factory with over 500 horsepower. Rich part of history again. Here we go with another interesting automobile. This is a 1963 Ford Falcon Futura. I think I pronounced that right. But these cars were really light, just like the Nova was with Chevrolet. A lot of guys put the high-performance engines in these and really went fast with them. But this car met its end when a guy named Lee Iacocca came into the Ford Motor Company, and he built the Mustang. This car they discontinued when Mustang started to get popular. For the Wild World of Classics, I'm Rich, and this is my friend Gar, the Gorilla. We'd like to thank you for watching. And there's only one great tip Gorilla was telling me that we have to tell you about, and that is, when you're building that race car, don't be a gorilla. You can do it slowly but surely. You don't have to do everything all at one time. The best tip is lay everything out. Don't build a motor without thinking about the trans and rear end.